Good afternoon, everyone. My name is Stephanie Delgado, by the way, and I am the Education Manager here at Hay Software Systems. That means that I handle all pieces of educating our customers, creating curriculum, videos, documentation as well, just all the materials, and then getting to do fun stuff like this afternoon of delivering training sessions via webcast as well as in person. Definitely, I love what I do. And this afternoon, I get to have a session that's specific to Austin ISD, where we're going to focus on those pieces that you are currently doing in the application. I'd love to hear, have any of you had any experience yet with the application? Have you maybe gotten a quick little tutorial from somebody else? Or have you at least kind of gone in and taken a look yourself? So if you want to chime in on the chat, or if you want to verbally say, okay, Sean, you've had some kind of activity or have interactions, I guess you could say, with the application. Great. All right. Well, you do not have to have any previous experience. Jessica, yes, you have. Great. Okay, so Ed kind of gave you a quick little preview also. I've been hearing that a bit. Everybody's been getting a quick preview, right? So quickly seeing how to issue and then potentially collect assets. And there's some other pieces, though, in the application that are going to be beneficial for you. And I'm assuming that you guys are all at campuses and probably have various roles, right? Maybe some might be librarians, some might be assistants, some might be in the tech kind of realm. But you all overall have the fun piece of kind of tracking assets on your sites, right? So I'm going to go ahead and just dive right in, actually, this afternoon into the application. And as we're walking through, we'll just kind of talk about all these various pieces. I mentioned earlier, but just in case for those that came a little bit after, I will be demoing in our training site this afternoon, so it will definitely look a bit different than what you're used to. I will also hop over to your actual live site to kind of look at a few things here and there. You are more than welcome to pull up your live site and kind of be walking through it as we are as well, but know that you'll get to see both pieces during my session as I demo out. All right, so I have any initial questions, I'd love to hear those up front, but no, as I mentioned earlier, this is definitely an open forum, so as questions come about, please do not hesitate to put in the chat or even just hop on the audio and say, hey, Steph, quick question. Sound good? So I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to share my screen, everybody. Okay, so if you could do me a favor and just make sure that you are able to see the TIPWeb-IT application. Could you please let me know in the chat window? Awesome. Thanks, Jessica. Great, you all see it? Fantastic. All right, everyone, so I am currently on a view that you will be on as well. There are several within our application, but we are in what's called the site view of the TIPWeb-IT application. So that means that this site is going to be specific to your campus. And I know which campus I'm at because it shows me in the upper left-hand corner here, Learning Campus. It's the high school that we have for our training site. Now, I'm going to go over high level each kind of piece of this main page. The dashboard is a big piece of this main kind of homepage when you first come into the application. So I'm going to kind of just talk high level about all the different pieces, and then we'll circle back to those that we will be actually diving into this afternoon. So right here in the center, we have what's called the dashboard. This gives you an opportunity to be able to quickly view information that is within the application. It could be inventory related. So total inventory that I have on my site, I have a count of 4,000 and a value of, let's see here, over 1 million, right? 2 million actually. And then statuses as well. So how many of those assets are in the status of available? How many are in use, and then how many are all those other kind of statuses that we have, such as in repair, potentially surplus, and even lost or stolen. Now, a majority of the statuses that you will use at Austin ISD are going to be available, which means it's available. Most likely it's going to be in a room that you're going to be able to issue out to a student, which then once you issue an asset to a student, it will go into the status of in use. So you'll use these two statuses very frequently. The other status that you will use heavily with Austin ISD is going to be in repair. And in repair means that maybe a kiddo has brought a device to you, those Chromebooks that you guys have in the application at this time, and says, hey, a key is stuck in my keyboard, my screen's not working quite how it should, I believe, and you're going to potentially collect that asset and put it in repair and or put it into the in repair room. We're going to see that a little bit more later, but potentially you may utilize that status as well, but your main two will actually be these that you see here. Now, that is kind of a high level of your inventory. Another great panel in the dashboard is tag distributions. And so that's going to let me see how many of the current tags I have or assets that I have in my application. Where do they reside? Are they in the hands of a student? Maybe a transfer. So maybe some assets coming from Ed and his team over to your site, or from your site to Ed's team, and then room here, as you can see. And we're going to talk a bit about rooms for your district here shortly as well. So that's another great one. One panel I highly recommend when you come in and are setting yours up is what is called notifications. Notifications are going to be any actions that you need to take within the application. It does a great job of kind of breaking it out. So you see my headers here. And some of these will not relate to you, but transfers potentially will. Maybe down the road, you guys will start looking at tag due dates. That may as well. But you'll start to see that this is really going to start to give you a quick reminder of any actions that are currently necessary for yourself, your user. Because the dashboard is customizable for the individual that's logged in, and also the notifications is specific to a user that's logged in. So I have potentially some information that is related only to me in notifications, but then I will also be able to view information that's kind of more of a higher level, total inventory and so forth at my campus. Now, to change my panels, right? You're like, cool stuff. Well, where do I go do that? Well, the way that you can actually update your panels, and you can update these as frequently as you want, is over here. There's like a little gear. If you hover over, my tooltip tells me panel settings. So if I click on that, I then have the opportunity to look for those specific ones. So I have my tag distributions, which is that one, inventory statistics, which is this, and then my notifications here. There's some other really great reports that you can kind of pull, and general kind of graphs and so forth. So my suggestion is just get in here, kind of test them out, and see which ones make the most sense for you. Do I have any questions on that, everybody? I'm going to continue on. So that's the dashboard. Now, there are two kind of navigation bars or quick links in the application. So we have the top navigation bar here, which is going to take you to the various pages within the application. Over to the left side, this toolbar is what we call quick links, and it's a quick way for you to be able to access certain areas of the application. Let's go ahead and talk quickly about catalog, because it will be Ed's team that's going to set up catalog. And at the moment, I'm actually go over to your URL. So I'm actually at Garcia, and I'm going to go to catalog. So once I go here, something you'll notice, and let me just minimize my screen a little bit. There we go. Is you have one item. It's that Samsung Chromebook Plus LTE that I'm sure you guys are all very familiar with. And you notice that it opens right up to an inventory tab. This is a great way to quickly see information about those assets that are currently on my campus. So of my Samsung Chromebooks, I have inventory that's tagged in a room, and inventory that's tagged that's issued out to a student. Now, with Austin ISD, I'm sure you all are aware that you guys are really utilizing the serial number, right, as the tag number. So yours is going to be a bit longer than like what we're going to see while we're in the test side when we go back to my training site. So with that, those that are in a room, My total inventory is 42. 24 of those are in use. I still have 18 available that I could potentially issue out to students. And then these are kind of more end-of-life statuses that really won't come into play at this time for you. But then over to the far right, I do have an opportunity to say detail inventory. And it's going to give me just a quick little overview of where the inventory is at, details about that location, and then how many are available and in use for each of those rooms. And then I can quickly actually go to that room just by clicking on this little room icon here. So very similar to what we would see also with students. I have a total of 384, and then 384, of course, are issued out to those students. And then my total quantities here at the bottom. Now, details. You can gain additional information about those assets if you would like to see it, just about the product, and if you had additional information such as suggested price, and even if you had images. At some point, Ed may put those in the catalog, but at the moment they're not there. But just know that this area definitely can be expanded on in the future. You'll see accessories. You at this time at Austin ISD are not tracking accessories that came with. I know that each of your Chromebooks kind of came with those nice cases, right, as part of the program. You're not tracking items like that or even the chargers. But if down the road you end up beginning to, this is where you'll be able to come to see those. Now, there are some reports. I'm not going to talk too in depth about these because having the one asset just at the moment, I know at some point you will be expanding. This is just to get you guys rolling, right? But there are some great opportunities for reports in this page for catalog. So at some point you can come in and kind of review these and just check these out as time kind of allows. Now, I'm going to hold off on, there's one other piece I was going to show you, but it relates to the other areas as well, so I'll go ahead and move on with that. So that is catalog. I'm going to continue on unless you have questions, so just chime in if you do. So then purchasing. Now, as I'm sure you guys have already heard, Austin ISD at this time is the individuals such as Ed and his team will be doing the purchasing piece for you, correct? And so with that, he'll handle all of the purchase orders for you. And if you believe otherwise, please go ahead and chime in. So you will not have to worry about this area too much. What I will tell you is that if at any point you realize, you know what, we have some kind of school funds, we want to be able to track those items that we have purchased with these kind of campus or internal funds, and we want to do a purchase order possibly, please reach out to the support team and we will walk through the process in its entirety with you. The concept here is that you are creating a purchase order for those items that you order from a vendor. And so like here actually I see one, a vendor of CDW, and so it can be even Apple, however you are ordering those items, whoever you're ordering them from more so. So just know that down the road, if you do have questions, please just go ahead and reach out to support. I'm going to go ahead and continue on with rooms. And this is one I really do want to talk to each of you about because as you notice, I have 3 rooms here. So the scenario that we are working with for each of your campuses is that each of you will have 3 rooms on your campus when you come into TIPWeb-IT. You're going to have an in-repair room, you're going to have a receiving room, and you're going to have a storage room. Now, what will take place is your receiving room, and actually some kind of cool stuff is if I click on my little expander here, it's going to give me more detail. So it opens right up to my inventory again. And I can quickly see that I have a total inventory of 6 tags or assets that are currently in my receiving room. So that means that those are assets that came over from Ed. He has transferred those over to my campus, and I need to do something with those potentially. One, if I had some students I needed to issue to. But if these are assets that maybe you're kind of on hold, they're waiting for backup for when those Chromebooks come back that need repairs, you can transfer these from the receiving room into your storage room. So your storage room is going to be that location on your campus where you're kind of holding assets so that you kind of have those loaners, or really not so much loaners for you, right? Because you're going to collect any Chromebooks that need to be repaired, and you're going to they just issue out one of these other ones, right? Is that correct? To the students? So we're not really doing loaners per se, I don't believe, with Austin. Let me know if you think that there's a variance in that, but I'm quite certain that that's the scenario that we are working with. So I have 6. I can issue these out to students, or I can do a room-to-room transfer, and I can move those over to my storage, which is kind of going to be my location for those that are ready to be issued out to students. Now, you notice I have an in-repair room. So in repair are those exact assets we were kind of mentioning that have come back from students that say, hey, something's going on with my Chromebook, it's not working. And so you're going to collect assets from the student into the repair room. We're going to walk through this here soon. And then you're going to issue them out a new device from your storage room. So that's kind of the scenario that we will be working through this afternoon. So as you see here in my repair room, I do have a total inventory of 34 in there. 24 are in use, and then I have 10 that are available. So it may be that some of these could be moved even over to my storage room if they are not in use, they're available, and they're done being repaired. So as we walk through the process, it's definitely something for us to be thinking about, of like, at what point should I move my assets from one room to the next? So as we are working through, we'll talk about that also. You can get some details about the room just by clicking on details, such as the room number, description, and so forth. Staff, this relates to if there was a staff member who is kind of like their home room. This I do not believe you'll have at this time, or it could be yourselves. If you wanted to, you could put yourself in each of these rooms as well. And then audits has to do with what's called a room audit, and that's where you have the capability to kind of do a quick spot check of those assets that are in a room specifically. I think audits will come down the road for you all, though, and so just know that it's one way to do a quick spot check of the room is here under the rooms page. All right, so the one thing I was mentioning earlier that I'd wait a little bit for is I want to talk a little bit about this view that we have here. You'll notice that in the last few pages we've been on, I've had this, what we call a blue grid header. And so it's going to have the header column for each of my fields. So as you see here, I have room number, description, room type, other, and then if I had assigned staff here, and then I have actions way over here to the far right. What is great with this grid in each of my pages is I can quickly find information by either just start typing in, so just kind of text-driven, or I'll find drop-downs where I can specify a certain one that I want to see. This is really going to come in handy when you're looking at students and then when you're in the tags page as well. So I want to kind of mention that to you. And then over to the far right of a lot of pages, you'll see actions. And so I have what is called initialization. This is the capability for you to add assets to the applications that are currently not in there. So maybe down the road in the future, we kind of talked about, maybe you decide there's certain assets on your campus you really want to be able to track, but it's going to be on a one-on-one basis as they kind of come to you, and you don't want to bring them in through a purchase order. You will be able to through the process of initialization. So just know this is here for you for future, and our help does a great job of walking you through that process. And I'm going to show you guys the location for help and for support here shortly. And then I can quickly look at inventory history. This is pretty cool. So my in repair, maybe I want to see all the inventory that's made its way to my in repair room at some point. And so here I have a quick list, inventory history for my room in repair. And then if I utilize my expander, it's going to give me details about those specific assets here. So I have my Samsung Chromebook in repair, and then I have available. So one's available for a student, and then one's in the room in repair. Anytime you see the little N, that means that there's notes that you can quickly view. So here, this is great. They said it's in repair because there's a red flashing light. So just some general information for the individual that is going to repair that specific item so that they can quickly assess and complete those repairs as needed. Anytime you see a C, this is actually custom field. At the moment, Austin is not utilizing custom field. Well, let's see here. I may take that back. I have warranty expiration, so good thing I caught myself there. It looks like you do have a few custom fields in here. Warranty expiration, IMEI, and then SIM card is what I believe that to be, and then new mobile number. So that might relate to their data, right? Because don't they each come with some data on them? Anybody know what that IMEI is, or the MEAD ESN? Just curious if you want to put that in the chat for me. So you do have actually some custom fields. And so when you hover over, you'll be able to get that information very quickly. I will show you how you can update this information. It may be yourself, maybe it's Ed's team that will update this information. If you are curious of that, I would definitely recommend reaching out to Ed. And then you have the capability to actually run a room inventory report, goodness sakes, right here. You also have additional reports in the upper right-hand corner again, and you'll see that I have several. It's broken out by if it's a PDF, so the type. Is it PDF or is it Excel? Thank you, Jessica. It looks like it's a serial number. Thank you for that. So you do have the capability to run reports from here as well, that room inventory report. This is a great kind of worksheet. If you want to kind of do your own spot check, just, with a paper copy, you could do that as well. So definitely come in here, take a peek at the various reports here. I will tell you where I think you're going to get the most information is going to be under the tags page. We're going to take a look at that here shortly. And then audits. Oh, wait, nope, I hopped way over, didn't I? I'm not going to talk about staff because I'm going to talk about students, which is our focus at the moment. But know that they are fairly similar in what they deliver or kind of produce for you. So I'm going to click on students. This gives you an opportunity to see all the students that are on your campus. This information is pulled through your SIS on a nightly basis. So if you happen to not see a student in here, you can actually come in and add a record very quickly to have that student in here. Just please make note to ensure that the student ID, that all the student information really is accurate as to what will be pulled from the SIS. Then the SIS will come in and it'll just ensure that the information is correct and will update any necessary information. But the key piece is the student ID here. But when you come in here, you can quickly see information about each student. It's very high level of just their name, the grade, homeroom that they're in. When I expand, it lets me know right away, inventory, what asset is currently issued to my student here. And so you'll see that I have, of course, one of the Chromebooks. Here's that tag number we kind of talked about. And it was scanned on September 3rd to this student. Now over to the right, I can quickly do a quick collect from this location. Now there are several ways to do quick collect as well as issuing to staff or students in the application. I'm going to do my best to show you each one of those and then tell you which one I think will be the most kind of beneficial for your scenarios. This is one way. If you kind of needed to track down the student, maybe you didn't have their ID or really their full name, you could come in here and utilize the filter sets and kind of start to type in a student's name. So this may be a way for you to kind of come in and And then once you figure out who it is, use your expander to get down to the actual inventory, and you could collect right here. That's one way for you to do a quick collect. So as you are looking at those assets that are coming in that are needing to be repaired, or maybe a student is leaving your campus. We will do the actual complete demo on my training site, because I definitely do not want to alter anything on your live data. And then under actions, again, I do have a report. This is the product distribution receipt. This is a great report that quickly gives you the information on items that are distributed to the specific student. So you'll see it comes up with Jonathan's information and details about that Chromebook, so the tag numbers, the serial, and so if you would like, you could always print this out, have the kiddo sign it. You could then scan it in and save it to the record if you would like, or it's just a great document to give to them so they are aware of what they have received. Various opportunities for the specific document. Now, what's great about the distribution receipt, and we're going to see this live here shortly, is I have the capability to digitally sign, and it would populate here for me. And so then that piece will actually save to the student's account. So that may be a more efficient way. It's really dependent, though, on what makes sense for you. If you want to have them all printed out when the students arrive, or if you have the capability to kind of, as they come, they could digitally sign, and then it would save to their account and just be on a one-on-one basis. Here is a capability to assess charges to a student for a specific asset, as you see here, my Chromebook. I do know at the moment that Austin ISD is not charging students for any of these assets, but down the road, just know if you decide that maybe for your campus you have some other items as we've kind of talked about, you do have the capability, and again, help is going to have some great information as well as our support team. So I'll leave it at that, but just know you have that functionality in the application. I can, let's see here, I think we already kind of looked at details at a high level here. Very similar is what you're going to see in details, including an address. So if you wanted to print out the distribution receipt or other kind of receipts for students and then be able to send them out to them, having their address in there is very beneficial for those such things. If charges were assessed, you would get to see those here in this tab. And then remember I mentioned attachments, everybody. Here is where I could see those attachments for those students on if they signed a distribution receipt, or if there's anything I want to attach that's regarding the student, I can actually put it under their record here in TIPWeb-IT. Pretty great little feature. Remember how we had actions on the previous page we were on? Over to the far right again, I do have actions. I have the capability to issue additional inventory. So this is one of the ways that I can issue inventory to a student right here. I can also view all inventory history for the student. We saw it for rooms, but also for students. And I can view a transaction receipt. That's just all items that have ever been issued to a student. I could pull that report really quickly, and then charges at a higher level to assess the charge in general to the student here. Do I have any questions, everybody? I know it's a lot of information, right? Overall, I think you'll be in here a little bit. I think what will be very beneficial for you is going to be reports. Remember, we were talking about that a bit ago. So up here in the upper right, I have my opportunity to pull all kinds of reports. A barcode ID report. Oh, I just got a great message. Yes, it is definitely a lot of information, and I completely understand that. That's why we're definitely recording it, and I appreciate that you want to kind of watch it again and then share it with your team. It seems I will tell you, it definitely can seem overwhelming at first, but as you kind of, I like to call it, see the matrix of how the application functions, it just kind of all clicks. Do you know what I mean? So please do know that at first it can be like, really, what is all this? But as you work in there a little bit more and just kind of start redoing certain processes and get a little bit more comfortable, it'll seem, like second nature for you. Alrighty, so yes, thank you for that comment though. And so barcode IDs is if you do need to do, let's say at the end of the year, if you're going to collect the Chromebooks from students, you could pull a barcode ID report. This report will show you the student's name, there's a student ID, and you could scan this and it would into the student ID field when you're issuing or collecting, and so you could have this printed out like in a little binder if you're going to do kind of a mass collection or even distribution to students. It's in alphabetical order. And another piece about this grid is I can filter down. So I could say, I only want to see my 6th graders. So then I could run my report, and it would be just for my 6th graders, let's say the new students coming in next year that I need to issue out devices to, let's say. It's a great report, and I love the flexibility of a majority of our reports producing data sets that are based on the filter set in a page. There's quite a few other great reports here. If you just want a student listing or student inventory statuses, what's the current statuses that devices are in. There's some great information in our help. I swear I'm going to show you here in a moment, but that will go into more detail of what each one actually produces. But I really recommend just getting in here and clicking on them and seeing what they produce and seeing which ones make sense for you to utilize as you are working throughout the application. Alrighty, so there are opportunities if students are inactivated for you to be able to see them quickly by clicking on Show Inactive. You can quickly do a bulk charge to like all students. So maybe you wanted to do like a deposit for, let's say you start tracking calculators, let's pretend, and you wanted to do a deposit for all of the calculators that you were lending to students, maybe. And then, of course, adding a record of a student right here. I just got a question. Is the students with no distributions list for students that have not been issued a device? Yes, exactly. That is a great question. And if you would like, we could actually pull it. Let's just see if this campus has any. So I can specify a product type. And let's see here. Let's just try this Chromebook for the product type. See what it produces for us. And I may have to move it. Yeah, so let's see here. Okay, so for the specific product type of that Chromebook, I had several kind of laptops, right? But these students, so 6th graders, do not have that specific product type of Chromebook. So there's quite a few here. But don't say that. Potentially, I just need, this is the one, this might be the product type. I need to go look at your one of your actual tags. Let's see here. Yeah, this looks a little bit more like, you probably choose Chromebook Samsung, because this list looks about a little bit more of the current, right? But it's going to let me know the student ID, first name, middle, last, their grade, their homeroom, and then any notes that have been placed in the student notes also. So this campus, it looks like maybe there's 22 that have not been issued a device potentially for the Samsung Chromebook. Great question. Any more on that? Wonderful. I got it. Okay, great. So I'm going to go ahead and X out. Thank you for that question, by the way. All right, so that was students. I'm going to, let's see here, skip this till a little bit later. What I want to do is talk to you about an actual tag as we're kind of talking about it. I like to kind of see a tag because, it's really the hub of the application. So I'm going to hop over to my training site because, again, I just don't want to, I want to ensure I do not do anything in your live data. I don't need anybody mad at me. Just kidding. All right, so I need to go to my Learning Campus. You will not have to do this piece. And then I'm going to check on a tag. Let's see if I have my tag 5455. Okay, so this is actually one piece. And let me back up a little bit. This field here is what we call, you'll hear it called quick search or tag serial search. Now, know though, it says tag serial search. The reason why it's really a quick search is because it also has the opportunity for you to search for staff members as well as students in your application. So that's going to be another way that you could potentially find an asset that was issued to a student. So remember how we looked on your site for Jonathan? Well, I could look here for, I think Ryan should be a student of mine. And as I start to type, it's going to try to filter down to my specific filter set I'm looking for. So student Ryan, and I could locate that individual that I was trying to find right here, and then I could go to their account right here. So here's the student account for Ryan. That's one way that you can track down a student as we're kind of talking about, looking for student information, as well as staff. But tag serial is fantastic. This actually will search for tags across your entire district. So you know how I said everything here is related to just your campus? Very true. The one way, though, that you may see information about another campus is right here. So as you saw, I'm on Learning Campus, and I typed in a tag. I can type or I can scan in a tag, either way. Do all of you have scanners? I think did Ed get you all some? Looking at my comments here. Yes, great, fantastic to hear. Scanners are a little bit more efficient than coming in here, especially because you guys have a little bit longer tag/serial numbers. So that's fantastic. But if you notice, when I came in right away, I'm a visual person. The first thing I notice is, oh, site says Charles Bailey. Wait, but that's not my campus, right? It's in red. It's letting me know, hey, this tag that you just brought up is actually for Charles Bailey. It's not for your campus. So if you have the capability, which overall you guys are just assigned to your specific campuses, but if you did, you may see this little icon here that would allow you to switch over to the campus. I think with the way that we're structured with Austin is that you'll just have just your campus, but you'll know, ooh, it's supposed to be at Charles. I need to reach out to maybe the front office, the librarian over there, the tech individual, to let them know I have one of their devices. And so, see how I can coordinate to get it back to them. So that's really great feature that I appreciate, and it's right there, it's in red that, hey, this device is not on your campus. But let's talk about this area really quickly. So I have a lot of great information related to my tag number, of course, the serial, site, of course, location. So if it's in a room, it'll tell me the room. If it's issued to a student, it'll say the student's name here for me. Asset type of standalone, what that refers to, and you'll mainly see only standalone, there is an opportunity in TIPWeb-IT to track assets that are in carts, and that's called a parent and component relationship. So maybe down the road you will start to have carts in the application, and then all those fun devices, either it's a laptop or an iPad, that are in the cart. You'll get to see that association. So currently it'll be asset type of standalone that you'll see. And then remember that status that we were talking about, everybody? Status of available, that's great. Potentially could be in use or potentially in repair. Scan date is the last time that an action took place for the specific asset. And then RFID will say not enabled, and that just means that your tag that is associated is not RFID enabled. So that's not a worry. Now, you guys did have that warranty information, right? So this is where you would see it actually here. It would say the warranty field, and you would be able to potentially update this information if that's your role. It may be Ed and his team's role as well, but that's where you're going to see that custom field or several custom fields that we've seen, right? So if I go over to tags, say go, click on one of your tags. So you'll see that here's all of those custom fields that we saw earlier for you right here. And then your tag number and serial number will be the same also. And there's a couple other fields that you may want to utilize for your campus. I think this is on a campus by campus kind of decision that I'm aware of. I'm sorry, I just had a request. So yes, I will ensure to share the link with everybody for this recording for sure. I appreciate you hopping on for the time that you could, and I hope you have a great rest of your day. For those of you, I still have some great things to show you within the application, but just know I am recording as well. So asset condition, you can update by just coming over here and clicking on edit, and it's going to show me the fields that I'm able to update.
Stephanie Matula.
If you need to update the tag number, maybe it's been peeled off. My suggestion would be if you do need to update like the tag number, I would say put old tag number in this tag notes field just as a connection after the fact. And then you see I could update asset condition and due date here as well. There's a lot of great information in the tag information window. Status history. So what has taken place with this tag? Where has it been? Who's it been issued to? I'll get to see that information here. Audit history relates to, of course, audits, which you will not have any for a while, but down the road, it's going to look similar to this of like, what audit was this tag on? Was it found? Was it misplaced, verified, and so forth? Ticket history actually is regarding our Get Help application, so this will not relate to Austin ISD. Components has to do with that parent-component relationship that we discussed. And so at this moment, you will not need to worry about this tab, but maybe down the road. And then you have the opportunity to add attachments at the tag level. It's just a quick, browse, locate, and add. But this is going to be at the tag versus, remember we were looking at earlier at the student level. So just know that piece. All right, so remember I was saying there's several ways that you can issue and collect items. You can also issue items to a student right here. So if this tag is not issued to someone, I'll have the opportunity to change the location to issue out or do a room transfer. So maybe I want to move it from the in repair room back to storage. This has been repaired. It's ready for students to be able to kind of issue back out to them. So that's another way I'll be able to. I'm going to show you the way at the very end that I think is going to be your go-to to issue and collect. Here I can change my status from in use, in repair, and available potentially if it's in one of these other statuses. But I can quickly do it right here as well. It'll give me a little pop-up window that says, hey, you're going to change your status. And you just say OK or go to allow that. Tag lifecycle is the opportunity to see all of those actions that we're talking about under status history all on a report. So if you wanted to kind of see how many times this tag has been in repair, whose hands it's been in, you can run this great report for the specific tag number that you see here. Below that, I have funding information. Now, because my assets are coming in currently through a purchase order that Ed is completing, you'll see my sources order. It's going to give me just the basic order information, so order number, vendor, here's that funding source, so here's that grant for these specific assets, right? And then maybe some more information just dependent on what is populated in the actual purchase order. This is just for you to take a quick little look. You are not able to edit it. And then you also have the capability to review product information right here as well. Remember we saw in our catalog earlier? You can actually see product information right here as well. And what's really fun is you can actually go directly to that product in the catalog if you wanted to, just by clicking on the icon. All right, so that is a tag information window, everybody, in a nutshell. I'm going to continue on unless you have questions, so please go ahead and if you have any questions, let me know. So I'm going to go ahead and X out of here. I like to go to the home screen even though it's not technically necessary. As you notice, I skipped tags. I'm going to, as mentioned, talk about that here in a little bit. But over to the far right, remember I keep kind of telling you there's a help. Help is right here. And I do want to show you it. I'm actually going to send each of you a quick guide that was created specifically for your school district, which will have a bit of the pieces that we're talking about today, but it will not have everything. So if you end up having questions, a great resource is Help. If you click on it, it's going to open up to our welcome page. Here's the table of contents. I will tell you my favorite spot is clicking on search and just typing something in. So as you see, I've looked at purchasing previously, click on enter. And then I have an opportunity to find information, let's see, edited purchase order, let's say. And it's step-by-step for me. So if I've forgotten how to do a quick collect or to issue to a student, I could quickly come here. Remember those reports I mentioned? I could review details on each of the reports and the various pages in the application. It's a great resource. So then I'm going to hop back over to my training site. All right, so we have covered each of these pieces. I'm going to also cover our quick links as well. Here is additional support for you where you can gain knowledge by doing quick search as we just did with Help. But here you have the opportunity to also see other types of materials like videos, enhancements that have come out for this specific application. So it's a great resource as well. I highly recommend as you're getting in here, you potentially have a question, check these places out. If they do not have what you are looking for, of course, always reach out to our support team. All right, everyone. So the big pieces for us are going to be issuing to students, collecting from students, doing room-to-room transfers, right? And then if we have time, I don't believe you'll be doing really too many transfers site to site. From what I understand, that is going to be Ed's kind of side or his technicians. If you believe otherwise, please go ahead and let me know. But I believe that is the scenario, is that you will move items into the in-repair room. And then, of course, I think you fill out the external, is it SOW or a SNO request to have assets repaired? If you want to chime in for me. I'm trying to remember the acronym. That's okay. I know that you guys know. Okay, that's okay. There is that, I think, internal kind of request system that you guys utilize. So let's go ahead and just dive right into issuing to a student. So I'm going to click on Issue to Student. So this is the main way I think that you're going to come in and you're going to quickly be able to just scan a student's hopeful ID, or you can do a search for them by their name if you happen to not know it. If you have the ID, just scan right there in the field, or I can utilize my binoculars to search for the student. Okay, I just got a notification. It may be a heat ticket that you would need to fill out for those repairs. I know that a lot of you do kind of try to troubleshoot yourselves on your sites as well, but I think that's for those that you're not able to kind of finish up that repair. So when I'm in issue inventory, I just need to track down the individual, again, utilizing filters if needed, and click on select. So it's now saved Ryan. If I had more than one asset I wanted to issue out, I could actually click on this little lock icon, and it says lock unlock for me. And it will hold Ryan's information, so I could come in here and scan tags as many as I needed to right here. And then once I'm done, I would just unclick, and it would remove Ryan for me. I can also just do reset if I wanted to reset the students that I have here. Due date, remember we saw that on the tags page, but where you initially set a due date would be here if you choose to utilize the due date field. It's just utilizing a calendar little pop-up to set that date. And then my tag number, which I'm going to use my 5455 that we've been looking at. Actually, I think that's at Charles. It may not let me get another one just to make sure, because if I remember correctly, it was at Charles. And I would not be able to issue the asset because it's at Charles Bailey, and it's kind of owned by them. And so I will choose one that I know is on my Learning Campus, which is a Latitude Dell laptop. I have accessories, and so when I hover over that A, I get the details about accessories. It tells me the product information, that tag number. It's now in use from available because it is now issued to a student. So second it goes issued out to a student, it is put into the status of in use, when it was scanned, and then the source was room 507 on my training site. For you, it'd probably be your storage room, potentially one of your other rooms if you're just kind of, issue directly out of those other rooms in repair or receiving. Remember, we kind of looked at those different reports that we have when we distribute. I want to show you, you also have the capability right here above the blue grid header. I can do a full distribution receipt. So remember, this is the one where I could actually sign. So I could have the student here. It will be Ed who fills out this information for you. This could be kind of the disclaimers of, hey, we are kind of lending you this device. Please take these precautions. Report issues if it gets missing, all that fun stuff. It will have your logo and then the student information here. So I'm going to click on sign. And you'd want the kiddos to do a much better job than me, but you'll just sign it with either a finger or with your mouse, and then say accept. And now below, here is my signature, and it's been saved to Ryan's account in the application. I personally love that feature. I'll say done. So that is how you issue inventory. Pretty straightforward, very easy. You can definitely come in and quickly, especially if you printed out that barcode ID report, and you could scan and then scan the device and just issue out to kiddos super fast. So once you have issued out and maybe an asset needs to come to be repaired, you'd want to do quick collect, which is right here. So with quick collect, you can collect to a room or to a transfer, but I believe you're going to be putting yours, majority, like 99.9% of the time, into your in-repair room. And so I'll say collect to a room. Okay, well, which room? You will select your in-repair. I'm going to do my virtual auction room. Now, collect to status. This is a decision you can make. You can keep it in available since it's going to the in-repair room. Or if you feel a little bit more comfortable, you could do in repair and move it to the in repair room as well. At this point, I think that's more of a choice for you. And so you can make that decision. So I'm just going to say, yeah, I'm going to put it in repair in my room. I can put any notes. So remember we saw those notes earlier about it was a blinking light. So I could put something here about, key issue, we'll just say, for something quick. Look at that little lock here as well if I need to do several. And then I'm going to need that tag number, which is 5344. Now, you do not have accessories, so you will not receive this, at least for now. But if you did, it gives you a list of accessories, the quantities that are expected, and how many you actually collected. So you'd update that information here. So I'll say collect. And now I show that this scan history for today, here's my latitude from Ryan Held, and it went to my room 1000, as we see here. And I could pull another great report, which is the transaction receipt right here. And here's another place to assess charges in the future potentially. Any questions on that, everybody? Is that probably part that you've already seen in the application? All right, so let's talk room-to-room transfers. This, again, is potentially where maybe you have assets that have been collected to in repair, in the in repair room. Maybe they're just available in the in repair room. You've fixed them up, realized it wasn't too big of a deal, and you want to move it over to storage so that you can issue it out to a student quickly, maybe when a new student comes aboard, or the same kind of item of their asset is needing repair. Room-to-room transfer is just a couple of clicks as well. Transfer to room, so I need to find my room. And so let's see, it's in virtual, so I'm going to choose 1001. Status, I can choose a new status here. So if they were already in repair and I want to move them all to available, I could do that. Or if it was already in available, I could just say, hey, use the previous tag status. And then I need that tag number again, right? Click on enter. You're about to collect a tag that's currently in repair. Proceed with collection. Why, yes, thank you. So remember, I had put it into status of in repair. While moving it to my storage room, I'm changing the status to available and just letting me know, hey, you're changing your status. Yes, that is exactly what I want. And so now my 5344 is now in room 1001 in the status of available. So I get to do several transactions, or kind of several transactions all in one, right? So I definitely appreciate that myself. Any questions on room to room? It's very straightforward, right? Okay, great, everyone. So I know we're about at the hour. If you're okay, I'd like to show you really quickly the last item, which is tags. This is going to be a great location for you to pull information across your campus. So how many devices do you have? How many of them are in the status of in repair? Just all kinds of great information. The way you can start out is by coming and doing basic filters. So, hey, let me see my in repair room. Or how many do I have sitting in my in receiving room? All assets that are issued to a student. Hey, let me see all of those assets that are just issued to a student here. And as I start to filter down, I just come over here and click on Go to apply my filters. And so now I have a listing. All I've chosen is show me all assets that are issued out to a student. And you'll see I have a grand list here. I have a lot in my training site. But what's really cool is at the very bottom here, in the bottom right, it tells me how many. So I have 107 items that are currently issued to students on my campus. I love this little feature right here. I'm also being able to utilize the pagination to shift between pages, and I can even expand the amount of items that I can see at one time. So whatever works best for yourself. Here's that same grid that we've been seeing, and our blue grid header here. So I have tag, serial, product information, the location, that's super important, right? And then asset type, status, vendor, and funding source. Now, if you come over here and you're like, Steph, I really don't need to see asset type. We're not really utilizing that at the moment at Austin. Can I get that removed? And why, yes, you can. Under Edit Columns, just come over here. The right side is going to show me the current columns that are displayed. Here's my asset type. So I'm just going to click on the arrow to push it over. And now I've moved it back over to Unseen Columns. And then maybe there's other columns I'd like to see, like maybe Tag Notes. That's always a great one. So Tag Notes, and I can push it over. So now I've removed my asset type, and I've added Tag Notes to my columns. Now I can shift items up or down just by utilizing the arrows here as well. So I'll put funding source right after serial. When I come back, it's going to refresh for me. And now I have my funding source here, and asset type is no longer, and I have my tag notes. I can also shift information quickly by just clicking, see it's populating funding source. You'll see some arrows, and I can quickly move my columns as well. Now, what's great about this is many of the reports that you'll find here, what is produced in my report will actually be dependent on what I see here. So if I have tag at the end in my report, I'm going to have tag over here. So I do appreciate that about the application, that a majority of the reports, whatever is produced, is the data set that you've filtered down here. You have additional filters such as status. Do I want to see all of those that are currently in status of in repair? I can choose that. I can choose asset type, which again is that parent component piece, manufacturer, funding source, and vendor as well. So these are what we call basic filters. Now, advanced filters have the opportunity to copy and paste several tags, and then click go, and my filter set would hone in on those few. So I could say 3,000. Now, each one will need to be on its own line if you notice. And then I say go. And that was me typing, but I could actually copy and paste up to 500 tags and or serial numbers at one time. So now you see my filter set has been filtered down to just those 2 tags. And then I have the opportunity for custom filters. This is going to be kind of your and or type statement. So I could say and add an expression. Let's say I want to look for a specific tag here. I could do that. So I only want to see 3,000. 3,000. Click on go. And then I'd only see that 3,000 here. There's a lot of great opportunities on various information. Tag notes. So maybe I want to say tag notes, and I want to say contain. And let's say I want to say, see if there's anything broken. Oh, let me get rid of these. Still none was broken. Let's say contains initial. So like initial inventory. There we go. And then if I click on my tag notes, you'll see initial inventory by room. So it's a great opportunity to hop in there and see all the various fields in the application and how you can start to create your own filter sets that will help you generate reports for yourself and for, maybe executive level on details about assets in your database. Now I can save these really quickly by saying save search as, so then I could say initial inventory. There we go, click on save. So then if I came in, maybe this is a report I need to pull on a monthly basis for my principal. I can just say student initial saved search, and it has populated my tag notes contains and my student information. So it gives you some great filter opportunities and then the capability to save those really quickly. Additionally, if I click on save searches over here, I can set automatic emails to go out to myself, maybe that principal, by going under actions, schedule email, enable my tag listing report to come out via email, and then I put in an email address. I could do as many as I'd like, just separate by commas, and then I need to schedule the report. And this is my form. Bear with me, everybody. There we go. So I could do weekly or monthly. They overall have the same required fields that as you see here of select the date, select a time. So maybe I want it 7 a.m. Every, let's see here, every Monday. And then start date, which of course probably be today. And I could do no end date, so indefinitely, or I could specify a specific time frame. The one thing I want to show you that varies between weekly and monthly is the select day of every month. So you could say the 1st, but you could also, if you want to see this report at the end of the month, make sure to do last day of the month and not like the 30th, because those months, like February, you would not receive a report, or that individual would not receive a report. and they might be calling you, right? Any questions on that piece, everybody? And we are just about done. I know we're just a few minutes over the time. Let me X out of here. I wanted to just quickly tell you about some additional opportunities you will have. You can do a one-time email a report to myself or someone else right here. And then you can do some bulk editing where you could update the status or the condition of some, maybe handful or more of assets at one time. So maybe you have quite a few that are in the status of available. You need to move them to in repair. You can quickly do that right here. You say change my statuses, update my records to all available. And it will not let me here. Let's see. And actually, it's a great point to make. So this is based on my filter set here for statuses moved to available. Tag details selected 0 because 69 tags are not in use or in repair in a room have been removed from the edit, goodness sakes. So if for some reason the application does not allow me to, it's going to give me a detail as to why I am unable to. Because they're in use, I'd have to collect them to make them available. I cannot change that status because if you notice actually X out, these are all in use because they are issued out to students that actually need to do a collect. But the concept of being able to change the status of several at one time is right there. All right, everybody. So that includes the training session for this afternoon. I know, like we talked about, that lots of great information, right, in about an hour. I will make this session or the recording available to each of you. It'll take me a day or so to get the recording kind of prepped and sent out, but do look for an email from me. Or Ed, so one of us will be sending out that email. Before we end our session, is there any additional questions that you may have, comments? All right. Well, I appreciate each of you hopping on and listening to me this afternoon and all the great things that we have in the TIPWeb-IT application. If you do end up having any additional comments or questions, please reach out to myself or our support team, and we will be happy to help you out. I thank you for spending your afternoon with me, and I look forward to chatting with you all in the near future. Have a great rest of your day. Oh, I'm so glad to hear it was informative. I appreciate that. All right. Goodbye, everybody.